welcome to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, did I say political? Political, social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm going to talk about a few things. Today has just been filled with such a variety of topics. But today, you guys, I want to lend my commentary to this Angel Reese controversy. It actually saddens me. It saddens me when I hear and see other women, right, like in the market square or in the marketplace, particularly the ones who look like me, who refuse to accept accountability and just admit when something is just flat out wrong or inappropriate. And I don't know when the memo went out, right? There must have been this memo that went out in the culture that basically said that, we're supposed to stand in solidarity at all costs, right? I don't know when the memo went out, but my name must not have been on the list because I didn't get the memo. And so I guess you can consider me non-compliant, right? I'm sorry. Like I just can't do it. My thoughts and opinions on this Angel Reese situation are quite strong. And so if I don't have like the Developing Dad podcast where he has like the little panda filter with the butterfly. I don't know if those are bears or butterflies. I don't have a filter to put on the screen to alert you that I'm going to be coming in hot and heavy. I don't have anything. So if you're super sensitive to accountability and words of criticism, you might want to come back when I'm finished with this segment. Okay, because this is not going to be one of those where I'm going to rub your back, and I'm not providing a shoulder to cry on. This is not that situation. That's not how it's about to go down. And so I kind of want to get that out there just to warn you and prepare you. Consider that the warning, right? So let me get situated here. I've got so much. My Bible's in the way, my water. There we go. I always forget to take that stuff down. My phone. I need to get my life all the way together. So anyway, as I was saying, because someone needs to just be fearless and look the orangutans in the eye and just to tell them that you're not helping Black women by coddling them, or coddling us in our foolishness, right? Like when you lower the bar of acceptable behavior and just respectability, when you excuse poor behavior and then provide cover for them when they're clearly wrong by any other standard, and then make them out to be like this helpless, innocent, eternal victim, that is not helping us. In fact, I believe that is doing more irreparable damage by overlooking observable reality that is forcing the rest of us in the real world to kind of play along, right? And act like the state of our women is on the up and up and that, like, everything is just fine. No, everything is not just fine. In my opinion, this is the mindset that is not helping us. So if you're confused, you're like, what is she talking about? I'm going to play the clip of the collegiate basketball player, Angel Reese, who in a recent post-game interview, after she played the game and she has this history of, unsportsmanship like conduct where there's taunting and, just behavior that in a sports like environment, when you have home training, right? And a good coach, like good coaches should be the ones to stop this from ever seeing the light of day. Like, I get it. Like, okay, so newsflash, I didn't play sports in high school, right? I just didn't play sports. But what I know from my friends that did play sports, they were always taught that it is important when you are playing the game that you need to be a great winner, but you also need to be a great loser as well. And that I know this is the generation of, everybody gets a trophy and no one wants to be the loser. But in sports, in athletics, there are only winners and losers. Okay, that's it. And that's the way I see it. It's very black and white. You either win or you lose, and there's no in between. And you need to be able to learn and mature on how to lose well with dignity. So I'm gonna play this post-game interview clip, and let me be clear and just say, just right off the rip, so that no one is confused or misunderstands. I'm not particularly fond of just college basketball, male or female, right? Like, I don't have a dog in this fight, whether it's basketball, football. Like, I'm not a sports person anymore. I don't have time to just sit and binge watch on sports. So I don't care about it in that respect. But I do care about the rising tension. I'm very concerned about the rising tension between Black men and women, coupled with the rise of what I call mutt culture within the Black community. And at this point, it's the overwhelming acceptance of this behavior that is the problem. And so when I use the term mutt culture, that is an acronym for menacing, unruly, and thuggish behavior, right? Like, and it can strike both genders, right? And the sad part is when you see it among the female persuasion of our kind, is when it really makes me sad, because women, we're not really built to function and act this way. I know y'all like, if she don't play this clip already, but and let me get this out. Okay, let me just get this out. I have friends and acquaintances who have raised student athletes, right? So I know enough about this world to be able to just observe and just say emphatically when something is just wrong. Like, I have a dear friend of mine, a Facebook friend of mine. I don't know if he's been sick lately and he's probably recovering, but shout out to Patrick Hampton. Patrick, I'm bringing him up because he has been a Facebook friend of mine for several years, and I have been following the growth and trajectory of Patrick raising his boys. He always uses this hashtag raising brown boys, and he has raised all of his boys like into sports. Like, they're smart academically, but these boys are just talented. One of them plays for Stanford. I think he's playing baseball and football. And then the other one is on his way to Colgate University. Just outstanding athletes. And those young boys are going to go far in life. But do you want to know the thing that I remember the most, that is forever cemented in my mind? Excuse me. When I think about Patrick and his boys, was, excuse me, we went to a wedding of a YouTuber. We were at his wedding. This was a couple of years ago. And Patrick was there with his boys, and I was there with my children and my husband. And they had one of these photo booth things, spinny barab. I don't know what you call it. It's just a little spinny thing, the little photo 360 booth. Anyway, Patrick was like, go ahead, April, go up there and, take a picture with your kids. And y'all had on like 4-inch heels that day. So I was like, listen, this is not the day for me to be getting up on this platform and spinning around taking a selfie, not in these shoes. And Patrick was like, no, go ahead. Well, I'm looking and I'm getting ready to step on the platform. And do you know what happened? His oldest son ran to where I was to grab my hand and to help me up. Y'all almost fell out. I mean, literally. And then the other one, who's right behind him, helped both of my daughters, gently held their hand and helped them to get on. And they both stayed there to make sure we were safe and secure on the platform so we could take our selfie. These are outstanding athletes. But the thing that I remember most about them is not all of the instant replays that Patrick posts of his boys when one gets a touchdown or the other one hits the home run. That is not what I remember most about his boys. What I remember most that is forever cemented in my mind are the character, the respectability, the politeness, just the general presence of masculine manhood that these young boys demonstrated. And they were teenagers. They were like, if this is 2020 and they're what, 18 now, you do the math. This is what I remember most about his boys. And so when I talk about this Angel Reese situation, to me, this is bigger than sports. This is a reflection of what's going on in our culture or the lack thereof as it relates to patriarchy, purposeful patriarchy, men being this standing presence in the home to teach both the boys and the girls right from wrong, to balance out some of this estrogen rich matriarchy that we're experiencing. And so I'm gonna engage, I'm gonna show the clip and then we're gonna engage with it. But this is why this matters to me and why I want to talk about it. Because there's this level of entitlement, the lack of sportsmanship, like conduct that exists, not just in today's sports, but just in general. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. It is simply not acceptable. And so this is why we can't have nice things, right? Like things are just different from when I grew up. But I'm going to go ahead and play this clip and then I'm going to come back and engage with it.
I don't really get to stand up for myself. I mean, I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and like not be there for them. So I just want to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, no, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are, keep waking up every day, keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
Alrighty, you guys. If we lived in a different time where all of us just had the proper home training and we're living life with the right perspective, like you wouldn't need commentary like this. But this is not that time. This is the time where I got to snatch some folks out the fire, and you may come out a little tinged and burned a little bit. But in the end, you will be refined as pure gold. So let's go ahead and deal with this. This clip, perhaps, I don't know, perhaps you're seeing this for the first time, but you are seeing here, this is one of the top female college basketball athletes in the country, right? She's here seen very different disposition from how we're used to seeing her. You know, here she's kind of boo-hooing and whining and crying about being attacked and being sexualized and just treated as if, the entire world is against her. We sat here and we've listened to her say that, she hasn't had any peace since winning the championship last year and how she's being sexualized. And I'm sitting here like, ma'am, have you seen your own Instagram? Like, have you, and see it, I should not, none of us should have to have this kind of commentary. I did see where someone in the chat was like, well, but what were you doing at 21? That is a very good question. When I was 21, I was working. right? I was working and I was gainfully employed. I was taking care of myself, working hard, just trying to find my own way. But I also had a mother. I had a mother and I had a father, albeit my father was not in the home. There were just certain things that if my daddy had found out that I was doing, we were gonna have to cancel Christmas. There were just certain behavior. One thing, I used when my dad was alive, I gave him a lot of flack because I didn't like the fact that my parents divorced when I was 4. And I didn't realize until I was older how not having the direct influence of him in the home, how that impacted me. But one thing I will say, my father didn't do the victim Olympics. Like he wasn't about to let you just be like on your mark, get set, go. No, no. He's like, we're not doing any of that here. My father forced me to own up to your mess, and when you start having these feelings of inadequacy and that the world is against you, tune out the sounds and the outside voices from the world. And you need to look at yourself to find out, what are you doing to contribute to this situation? Are you really a victim, or is it? In my situation, I wanted to blame the whiteness of the modern European history class that I got a D in. I wanted to blame me getting a D in that class on everyone else, except for the fact that I wasn't putting in the work. I wasn't trying. I didn't challenge myself to say, so what that this history doesn't, you can't see yourself in this history. This is a class that you need to take, and you need to do well, and you need to do it by studying and getting your head in these books and not worried about these little boys over here. See, I didn't want to hear that. And so when my father had to make that fateful call down to me in Virginia and put me in my place and put his foot up my behind, it didn't feel good in the moment. But I never forgot that. And it made me a better person. It helped me to realize that there are no victims here. There was only an underachiever in that instance, and it was me. And it didn't feel good when he said it. And in fact, I resented him because you know what I did? I pulled you haven't even been here to have earned the right to tell me that I need to do better. That's what I said. That was my response, not the wow. The man who loves me and who contributed part of his DNA to make me and to give me life, instead of me recognizing that he is giving me tough love in this moment and he's not allowing me to be a victim and to feel sorry for myself, but he's forcing me to rise to the occasion because he knows I'm smart and that I can do it and that I am capable of doing it. Instead, I pushed back and turned the tables on him and tried to make it about him. He was like, listen, you can take this conversation in that direction if you want to, but this ain't about me. It is about you and that D you got in that modern European history class. So I'm sorry if you have issues with this kind of commentary, but you also have to understand that we all need to be responsible for our own behavior on and off the court. And so one of the questions that I have is there any self-awareness at all? Right? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's appropriate for little girls to look up to women who think it's okay and appropriate to share a mold of their own vajayjay for public consumption, and then they're shocked and confused when they are sexualized. Maybe if you don't want to be sexualized, perhaps you should not place yourself in sexually compromising situations. You see, this is where the lies of feminism come home to roost. You fight for equality, you fight to be treated the same. And when you finally begin to experience what you yourself dish out, now you're the victim and the rest of the world is supposed to feel sorry for you. No, I'm sorry, I don't. It is disappointing and downright shameful For every notable Black female voice on the internet and beyond who has been caping and playing defense for the actions and egregious behavior of Angel Reese. Yes, I said it. It's almost like we cannot discern right from wrong anymore because everything a Black woman does has to be baptized and sanitized in goodness, no matter how wrong it is. It makes no sense to me. It's this very mindset that makes us, yes, I'm going to say it, it makes us the least marriageable of all people groups in this country. That is just a fact. This is why, even with all of your degrees, in reality, you're not winning. In fact, Black women are losing. We are losing, and as a result, the community as a whole is losing. I know you're special. You in your personal life, you think you're winning. But when we compare our lives to the lives of our predecessors, you guys, we're not winning. We're in a really bad state. This is why, even when you do achieve accomplishments that are noteworthy and deserving of accolades, you diminish and take away from anything that was good or noble and worthwhile acknowledging, because as a collective, these broads are some of the most evil, illogical, uncooperative, combative, and disingenuous group of people that has existed in my lifetime. And I'm not going to apologize for saying that, because that is what I am observing. It is what the rest of the world is observing. And we're all sitting back trying to figure out, like, we can't be the crazy ones. We can't be the crazy ones. This is why, ask people, including the ones who look like you, when they see a bunch of us coming in a group, they immediately recoil and wish they could just disappear and go somewhere else. Why? Because we think that the world is supposed to stop and bow down to us no matter what. Newsflash, that's exhausting. Y'all are exhausting. And I'm here to tell you exactly where all this exhaustion is coming from. I don't understand, for a group of women who are always adjusting these imaginary crowns, why is it that you simply cannot conduct yourselves like the royalty you claim to be? It's incompatible with all the queendom that we hear professed. You know, I heard a panel of female sports commentators constantly over and over again claimed, Angel's crown is just so heavy, and sometimes the weight of the crown is just too much. I was like, what? What crown? Where is your kingdom? I'm like, who are your subjects? And more importantly, where is your king? Queen with a K? Like, I'm a melanated woman living in America. Y'all are wearing me out. My sons are thoroughly worn out, and they're not even 18 yet. They're just like, oh, this mom, like, what is wrong? Like, what's wrong with them? I'm like, son, I don't know. I don't know. The amount of time spent whining and complaining about sexism and racism, you could be doing something productive. Like, I don't know, raising a family, cooking your family a meal, reading to a child. Or how about this? Just sitting back and saying nothing, just being pretty, just, just being regular. You could be doing cryptography for the government, I don't know, inventing new medicines. You could be out in somebody's ER resuscitating somebody who just flatlined, like clear, something productive. Heck, I don't know. But I want to show you guys. I want to show you guys another clip. This is the clip that really set the whole orangutan feminazis into an all-out meltdown. Like, these women just lost it. I mean, they went just nuclear. You guys, take a listen to this.
I'm about to give a gender-neutral, racially indifferent take. Now, if you...
Flag on the play.
Hold on. I know that's like that was like what 5 seconds. I know, Acho. I know. I know. I'm gonna let you cook, Acho. I am. I'm gonna let him cook. But before I do, you guys, I honestly wish. I wish he would have left that part out. I wish he would have left that part out. Do you want to know why? Go ahead. Ask me why. April, why do you wish he left that part out? Because normal humans, like those of us who haven't been baptized and given the right hand of fellowship to the church of diversity, equity, and inclusion, like we know that wise counsel, just some good old fashioned godly advice. That kind of advice is like, come on over here, baby sis. Let me help you understand something. Let me help you understand where you messed up and what this is really all about. This is what Acho was about to do. But I don't think he needed to preface his remarks by highlighting that he wanted to give a gender neutral, race neutral advice. Like, why? Need to say that. Neither of those things have anything to do with a person's character. This is a character and a behavioral issue. And so the advice, you guys, that he is about to give this young lady, it is sound. It is heartfelt. It's just truth. No matter what gender you are, no matter what ethnic expression you were born with, it's just simply objectively true. Like there's no truth for the blacks and then a different truth for the whites. There isn't this truth for men, and then when it comes to the women, they need a different standard of truth. No, it's true because it's true. And people who love you and care about you, that's what they do. They just tell you the truth. But y'all, let's go ahead and continue.
I'm about to give a gender neutral, racially indifferent take. Now, if you want to say, well, Acho, cater your take based upon gender, Acho, cater your take based upon race, I will understand that. But I'm about to give a gender neutral, racially indifferent take. Angel Reese, you can't beat a big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Because if you want to act grown, which she has, if you want to get paid like you grown, which you are, if you want to talk to grown folks like you grown, which you did post game when you told a coach for an opposing team, watch your mouth. If you want to tell people get your money up, then post game when you take a L, you just got to take it on the chin.
Listen, facts. Now, I don't watch football in a long time. I don't even know who Emmanuel Acho used to play for. Like the last point of reference I have for a football player is probably Reggie Bush, or what's the other little wide receiver, the little skinny boy that had the reality show, the little chocolate one. What's his name again? The one, you remember the one he had the little two female assistants? What's his name? Wide receiver, played for Philly, the Eagles. Oh, he had a reality show. We used to watch it before I knew Jesus. Never mind. Who? Yes, T.O. Thank you. Terrell. That's the last time I watched football. So I'm a little rusty. So I don't know who Acho used to play for, nor does it matter. But facts is what he spoke right here. You see, you guys, this is the kind of truth we needed to hear. This is that patriarchal, authoritative, let me tell you what it is. And whether you like it or not, this is what this generation needs to hear. You guys, this is how fathers talk to their children. Or this is how like an uncle or a big brother or an unwoke male coach who sees all of your potential that he knows that you possess. But he also knows that if he doesn't tell this young person the truth, that they're going to find themselves in a very dark and dangerous path. So let me come in hot. Like that's how he's like. He's like, and most definitely, I got to come in heavy with this objective truth because while everyone else is singing your praises, who is going to be there for you when you eventually crash and burn because your behavior and your conduct is so egregious, it's so unacceptable, and it's so unhealthy that you end up ruining yourself, ruining future opportunities, and ultimately negatively impacting your entire future simply because you were unteachable, you were uncoachable, and can't nobody tell you anything. So that's why. That's why I'm doing this commentary, because when fathers and father-like figures and just male authority, when they are properly represented in the culture, when you hear a man speak like this, it doesn't trigger you. In fact, it silences those who actually want to learn and grow. It silenced me, except for the first part. I was like, oh no, you ain't have to say that. Just say it with your chest, Acho. But it makes you humble. It makes you grateful. And it makes you better. Like, you become a better person when people come into your life and they're like, let me tell you something, young buck. You ain't handled that the right way. But no, the hyenas of the orangutan persuasion and a few melanated beta male soy boys who were probably raised by their own orangutan mamas, they gave Emmanuel Acho so much grief for his commentary here that it made me realize. I was like, you know what? The Black community as a collective, I was like, yeah, we're done. We're done. I'm talking like stick a fork in it, done. It's like I listened to some of the dumbest arguments about how Emmanuel Acho was just wrong and out of touch. And then they practically called this man a colonizer. A colonizer, simply because he stated what is objectively true. For anyone who isn't blinded by the sirens from the Victim Olympics, can you hear it in the background? Can you hear it? Like, are y'all tired yet? No, he ain't tired. Well, I am. I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing these entitled and delusional ingrates who take every opportunity to berate and shame and silence the men who look like you every time they try to have a come to Jesus meeting with you and just speak the truth and just give you a dose of reality, regardless of how the makes you feel, regardless of how it makes you feel in the moment, but they're trying to keep you on game as to how the real world works. And how this is not a fantasy world that you get to live in so that you can change course and correct and learn what it means to grow and mature and be a productive citizen in this country, and simply learn that the consequences for your actions will follow. It's not like sometimes, they always do. That's just how life works. And sometimes, depending on your actions, those consequences are good. And sometimes, not so much. But here's the reality. Men don't get the luxury of playing the victim card. Now, they try. Some of them try. But when they try, do you know what happens? The world laughs at them and tells them to suck it up and to man up. So since you want to be equal to a man and do everything like a man, why do you believe that you should be exempt in this situation? I don't know who raised y'all. And I ain't talking about y'all, my audience, because y'all don't act like this. I'm talking about y'all, they know who I'm talking to. Y'all and ratchet tang mamas, all y'all, I'm like, y'all need to go on somewhere, just sit down and just recognize your time is up. Society is exhausted from your shenanigans and all the black girl magic reign. It just needs to die. And why? Why is that? Because there are women like me who will not be silent. We will not get on code. No, we're not co-signing to your foolish, idiotic rhetoric. I don't play those kinds of games. There are women like me who are committed to raising the next generation of women who are nothing like you. And I tell my girls to avoid these toxic, matriarchal minded feminists. My girls are repulsed by this, and they should be, because this is harmful. The mindset is destructive. And if you have women like this in your circle who can't deal in reality, you need to run. Get you a new set of friends. I'm sorry, but I have to say this, and it needs to be said. But racism doesn't shape the entirety of your existence. And if you had to count like how many white people affected your life just today in a negative way, you'd be sitting here looking like Boo Boo the Fool, because you can't even make up an instance where that happened. You just can't do it. And if you try to do the same thing for yesterday and the day before, you'd still be trying to figure out, well, I mean, it kind of had happened a little bit. Like if you squint real hard and turn your head to the side. No, no. It is time. And I'm not saying racism does not exist. It's sinful falling world. Absolutely it does. But it is time somebody, anybody, told the old and the young hag, just listen. It's enough is enough. The culture needs to be grateful that a whole grown man like Emmanuel Acho had the courage to just speak the truth like a father or an uncle or a big brother who just really cares about someone that he sees that has such a bright future. But you're in your own way. You are literally the only one in your own way. It is not racist white people. It's not sexist men. It's you. You in your own way. You're always talking about no one respects us and no one protects us. Well, tell that to someone who tried to speak the truth to you, but you're too delusional and foolish and silly to see, like, just based on its own merits, you can just look at the situation and be like, okay, that's not what happened. I was the one who was dishing it, but I couldn't take it because I haven't been trained and I haven't learned the art of being a good sport. I'm young, I'm making all this money, and some people who claim they love me made me think that I'm entitled and I should be able to act any way that I want, but that the same standard doesn't apply to me. But instead of sitting with that criticism, and it wasn't harsh, it was just real. Instead of just sitting with that, like, you know what, I got a lot of thinking to do because, yeah, what he said, I can see it. But instead, her and all of the women who are playing defense, you'd rather attack that man and claim that he is caping for white people. That's just like so funny to me. But claim he's caping for white people instead of just realizing that he was trying to do something that no one these days has the guts to do, and that's hold you heifers accountable. So no, get out of your feelings. Go ahead, since you all of it, just go ahead and actually get the bag. Live up to your own rhetoric. Put your head down and get in the game of life for real. Compete on the basis of your merits. If you bad and bougie, then prove it. Be the woman that people actually want to spend time around and stop playing the victim. Because this is not attractive. And people are over it. So here's a question. Here's a question that I want you guys, the listening audience, to consider. We hear it said so many times that, the Black woman is the backbone of the community. How is the backbone of the community always the victim then? You cry and act like the victim, but if the truth is told, you're not the backbone of the community. You are the weak link in the community. Based on your behavior, you're unhinged, there's no stability, you're illogical, and at this point, you can't even hide it anymore. Because your inability to manage your own misery due to your own life's choices is causing you to be the main cause of the demise and the destruction of the community. And until you humble yourselves and realize that we are losing, because y'all are the ones that are raising the out of control generation that lacks fortitude, they lack resilience, there's no morals, there's no values. If you don't realize that, we're going to continue to be at the bottom, and we're going to continue to be the least marriageable, and we're going to continue to be the least protected. And I don't care. Bring all of your Black girl magic rhetoric to the comments. Bring your sage. Pray to your dead ancestors. Come with all the illogical argumentation that you can think of. I do not care. I don't. You can keep all your narcissistic foolishness like way over there. Because I said what I said and it is what it is. And while you over there, keyboard going off, I'm gonna be sitting here next to my husband of 17 years and 4 kids and a whole dog on the floor and a whole lot of guns. And we're just gonna laugh at you. And we're gonna wonder, and now it's gonna make sense how society, we're like, Lord, it's by the grace of God, society hasn't collapsed sooner because all of y'all are at the helm. No one is holding Black women to these unreasonable, impossible standards. It's just basics. Basic standards that everyone else understands that this is how you're supposed to be. But to y'all, it's like, you're just holding us to these impossible standards. Y'all, the expectation is for you to be an adult regardless of your ethnic or gender expression and be accountable. That's it. Just be a good sport. Be a good citizen. Don't dish it if you can't take it. Don't degrade yourself. Don't sexualize yourself. Don't bring unnecessary, unwanted attention to yourself and then cry the victim. Because the rest of us normal thinking people, all we're doing is laughing at you. That's it. You gotta laugh to keep from crying because it's really more sad than anything else. It's more sad than anything else. So I'm off my soapbox. I said what I said. At this point, I don't know how many of those I'm gonna get, but we can try. Go ahead and like this video. Share it with your tribe, particularly the contrarians and the detractors who are like, I don't like the way she said it. It was just too much. It was too much bravado in her voice, and it just made me I feel attacked. I'm very triggered by that lady's words. Listen, go get a helmet.